Hello and welcome back to Hollowponds Solo Sagas, where we are playing solo role-playing games as per normal. And today's solo role-playing game is the continuation of our Alien story. We are on episode 18. We're playing through Chariot of the Gods. We have very few of our original crew of the Red Dwarf left, and we want to see what happens next. So, what did we have? We have lost AJ Rimmer outside on the skin of the ship. Cat and AJ Rimmer encountered an abomination, and the abomination had the better of Rimmer. Cat is still out there. Simultaneously, at the same moment, Parks and Lister entered the reactor room and were ambushed by a hibernating abomination. They were both beaten. Lister was killed. Parks was left with his severed leg, slowly bleeding to death, calling for help. That happened simultaneously. At the same time, we would have had Kryton and Ava-6, the original synthetic from the Kronos, with Kryton, the synthetic from the Red Dwarf, had both gone into the air scrubbers with the attempt to clean out the air scrubbers, because they know that there is a contamination within the air scrubbers, that if the humans breathe it in, they will become contaminated, whereas Kryton and Ava are immune to that. Now, Kryton does have heavy machinery skills, Ava does not. But we also know that Kryton has the agenda that in the original game, the box, well, it's within the starter box, would have been given to Lucas. Lucas's Act 1 agenda. You are a synthetic undercover agent named Lucas, working for Bionational Corporation, which is a rival to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. The rest of the crew don't know this. You have been informed that the Montreal, which is the Red Dwarf, will be redirected to investigate the US CSS Kronos, which ended up happening. But it wasn't investigating, we were returning goods. So basically, we've rewritten this a bit. We were returning some goods that were found from a derelict that we were sent to investigate to the Kronos, which is a research vessel, for them to research those items. It was 2 alien eggs and the body of a Yutani. Is a Yutani correct? I think so. No, it's Weyland-Yutani. A Yuucha. Body of a Yuucha, and that's where we encountered this. So anyway, so this is what Kryton's got. Make sure to follow along with the investigation. Whatever you do, don't expose yourself as an android. So one of the things is that Kryton is trying to do is get as much information and data off of the Kronos as possible to take back to Bionational Corporation. Now, Kryton is programmed to do this. So Kryton will want to do this above all else. But Kryton does have, as part of Kryton's personal agenda, is a sworn oath never to take a life. So Kryton will not take a life. But Ava is not alive. So what I've been thinking over the past week, because I know that we've got a simultaneous situation that we need to deal with, which is Kryton and Ava. And what happens with Kryton and Ava may decide what happens at the end of this story. Now, Kryton can't kill any members of the crew. But as far as Kryton is aware, Ava doesn't have this problem. So Kryton can attempt to get Ava to help him deal with this situation. So whilst working on the air scrubbers, I was thinking possibly would Kryton try and convince Ava to help him get the stuff off the ship and get rid of the humans who will get in the way. Possibly, yes. Now, Ava wouldn't want to do this because Ava's got help the humans survive above all cost. Ava's even down to her own detriment. So the Ava-6 within the book, synthetic, has got personal agenda, help the humans on the Kronos survive without regard to your own safety. So Ava will not want to go along with this plan. So this is the scene that I want to play out. We will roll our Act 2 dice to see if anything dodgy happens. If it does, because we definitely have one, well, I mean, not yet, because it's not finished killing Lister yet, but we're going to have a abomination roaming the ship, and potentially, I think there's potentially one of the standard neomorphs roaming the ship as well. We've also got the one in the which is in with the mother. Cat is on the outside hull, so let's roll this to see if anything weird happens. Yes, okay. All right, so something weird happens. Well, if we've got the neomorph roaming the ship, the neomorph could be roaming the ship, and okay, that's what we'll have. Because the neomorph will actually ignore the two synthetics, but that might trigger off. So if Kryton sees the neomorph, that is a thing that Kryton would like to get back. So what we'll have is Kryton is going to roll, because Kryton does have heavy machinery, and Ava will help Kryton, which will give Kryton an extra dice. So if that Kryton needs a hit, which is going to take the whole of a shift, which is about 5 to 10 hours, to actually remove and replace the air scrubbers, which needs to happen for this ship to go home. Yes, so they're successfully changing out the air scrubbers, and they're in the process of doing that. But in the process of moving that out, a neomorph, a fully grown neomorph, which was the one that we know is roaming the ship, starts to move through the starts to move through the air scrubber shaft and comes past them. So we are going to make a roll for a neomorph, a full-grown adult neomorph. Here we go. Stage 5 adult neomorph has observation of 8. Okay, we're going to give it an observation roll 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to see whether it's going to just go straight by or it's going to come up and start sniffing these and try and investigate it. And then we will do an act roll if it does and see if it decides to attack them, and that might throw my plan out because instead they might be defending against this neomorph. But that might mean they have to take advantage of this. Kryton might take advantage of that situation. Okay, so it is interested in these two humanoid shapes. So we get a view from the neomorph's eyes, and we can see two humanoid shapes, but aren't showing sort of scent waves coming off them. They're dead. There's no scent waves coming off them, and it clearly moves over towards them to investigate. Kryton and Ava need to make mobility rolls to see if one of them is more interesting than the other, as they both attempt to keep still as it goes past. So this is Kryton, who has 5 for agility and 1 for mobility. No hits. And Ava has 6 for agility and 1 for mobility. 1 hit. Okay, so Ava keeps still, whereas Kryton starts moving slightly and knocks one of the spanners off, and it goes tumbling down, which the neomorph jerks his head across and moves over and starts to have a look at Kryton. Now, how can we decide if it goes? All right, so we're going to roll these. If we get a neomorph, then it is definitely attacking Kryton. If we don't get one, then we will have another observation mobility roll, and to see if it's going to sort of probe Kryton, see what Kryton does. No, so it's going to probe Kryton to see what Kryton does. So Kryton needs to make a mobility, shall we say mobility, or basically it's for Kryton not to react to this thing starting to attack Kryton. Kryton gets a hit, so Kryton stays still. So Kryton gets 1 hit, and it has an observation of 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. And it gets 1 hit. So we're going to say that it comes up to Kryton, and it begins to sniff around Kryton's face and around Kryton's chest, which should be showing some heat and some movement, as a human would. It doesn't detect any life there. It's basically programmed to eradicate life. So as far as I can glean from reading and from various things online, this agent, this substance was produced to create things to finish eradicating the life on a planet. For whatever reason the engineers are doing that, I don't know if we know, but it is to eradicate life. This isn't alive, and so it will finish sniffing and then it will move off. That will then trigger Kryton to start to say to Ava, these are very interesting creatures, don't you find, Ava? And Ava will say, yes, but they're very dangerous. They do not like the humans, and I worry that they will kill the humans and be very dangerous to the humans if this is taken back. And Kryton will say, but there's a lot of science here, and there are several other corporations, as well as Weyland-Yutani, that would be quite interested in the science here. Ava will say, I don't know what you're getting at, but we need to get the humans to safety, which means we need to get these air scrubbers working, and then we need to get the ship working, and then we need to destroy everything that's here so as the humans can get back safely. I don't know, Ava, if that's such a good idea. And at this point, Kryton is going to attempt to manipulate Ava into understanding. So try and put forward an argument to convince Ava, 2 hits, that that's not a good idea. Now, Ava has only a 4 for empathy, but because she does not want to harm the humans, I'm going to give her a +1 for that, giving her 5 dice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kryton got 2 hits in trying to convince Ava. Oh, Ava's got 1 hit, so that's a one success. So Ava is starting to see the idea, starting to come across the idea that, okay, I can see that there are some advantages to taking this back and studying it, but I don't know. So she is then going to try and counter and say, but I don't think this is a good idea. 2 hits. I don't think this is a good idea, and I really would rather we don't do that and we just help the humans. Kryton then has 8. Basically, I'm trying to get them to get into a fight. If they get equals, they're going to... Okay. So Ava has countered back, and Kryton is... Oh, is Kryton just going to just do away with Ava? Because he can do away with Ava, and I'm happy if they can fight each other, and then basically if they fight... This was the kind of my thinking. If they get into a fight, the 2 synthetics fight in the air scrubbers, the one that survives is the one that basically the rest of the story is told around. So if Kryton survives, it's probably not looking good for Parks and Cat. If Ava survives, it probably is looking good for Parks and Cat, or maybe not, because she might decide to just do away with everything. But that does mean killing the humans, so she probably won't want to do that. And there is one EVA. There's one escape vehicle left, but it's within the vacuum. It's behind. It's in the that nice room that got the hole blown out of it, where they're attacked by Flynn. So she could be able to get them away. I mentioned these ideas to Mandy, and Mandy said, "Well, in the original Alien, doesn't a cat survive in that as well?" And so we will. I think Kryton is going to start getting a bit annoyed with Ava. Is Kryton just going to try and creep up on Ava? All right, I'm not sure. So let's use our Oracle dice and decide what we're going to do. Because otherwise, it feels. Well, because this is then the question. This is then the question that is often asked about role playing. Why don't you just write a story? Well, yes, but also no, because this is and there was someone who posted who I can't remember your name. I'm sorry, but you said you're a writer, and that sometimes the game and the rules leads you to then those decisions. So let's see. Is Kryton? I think more than likely Kryton is going to want to do away with Ava, because now this is just too complicated. They're in here and it's too complicated, and he knows. So what we do know is there's a ship outside, and what we can now assume that Kryton knows is someone's going to come and get him at some point. So I think if this is a positive or a neutral, he's just going to try and... Well, let's say it's a positive, he's just going to attack Ava outright. A neutral, he's going to attempt to ambush Ava. And a negative is going to give it what? See if they can fix the air scrubbers first. Okay, so those 2 cancels, that's a positive. So he's not even going to try and sneak up on Ava. he's just gonna basically pick up a wrench, and we'll have them have a wrench. They've both got some form of wrench or something as a weapon, and he's gonna have a go at her, and we'll have a synthetic fight. So I've written down the stats for a wrench and a cutting torch. The cutting torch has a damage of 3. The wrench has a damage of 1. Oh, Ava's got 1 more hit point than Kryton has. Both of them will say can be used with close combat. The cutting torch, on the other hand, has a supply of 5, and so it's potential that the cutting torch will run out. So we can say we will do initiative for the pair of them, and then whoever goes first can try and pick up something. Ava is already on edge because of the sort of questions that Kryton is asking. So Ava is a bit worried about that. So we will see how we are going. So Kryton goes on an 8. Ava goes on a 1. Okay. What will Ava go for? The wrench or the cutting torch? So probably, I think, Kryton would be using the cutting torch, Kryton having heavy machinery. So if Kryton can roll a hit on heavy machinery, Kryton is carrying the cutting, he has the cutting torch at the time. Yes, okay, so Kryton has the cutting torch, Ava has the wrench. So Kryton is clearly going for Ava, which means that we will have, is Ava going to, I don't think Ava will attack Kryton first. Let's make Ava make an observation roll. If Ava makes a hit on an observation roll, then Ava sees Kryton getting prepared to attack her, and Ava can attack first. Ava has a 5 for wits and a 2 for observation. If Ava can't make this roll, then we assume that Ava doesn't see Kryton coming. Though Kryton doesn't get an ambush, she can defend herself. That she will have the wrench and defend herself. No, she very clearly can identify that Kryton is going to do something, and so she is going to say, I don't want to have to fight you, Kryton, but I am not going to let these people get killed. And she has a 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for strength, and she is going to step forward with her wrench, which gives her a +1, and attempt to knock Kryton unconscious. She gets 1 hit. Kryton is going to use the cutting torch to defend himself against her stepping forward and hold up his arm. He successfully parries the wrench as she slams it down to the side of his head to basically knock him unconscious, because she's panicking that he wants to kill the humans and take these supplies away. As she's up close with him, he will hold her by the throat and attempt to push the cutting torch into her stomach to make sure that she does not get in the way of Bio-National's plan. He gets 1 hit. She is going to attempt to push him aside. So this is basically they're using brute strength against each other because they have no close combat skills. She is going to attempt to push. Does she get a +1 for the wrench? Oh yeah, I'm going to give her a +1 because she's going to use the wrench to attempt to hit the cutting torch out the way, getting 1 hit. So she successfully knocks the cutting torch out of the way. Kryton actually has a suit on with one armor rating. So she hits the cutting torch out of the way. So that was dun 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 dun. Now we're on round 2. If we go to round 5, we'll roll. Actually, round 3, we'll roll to see if something happens, and then roll 5, we'll roll to see if something happens. She is so they're both still in engagement range with each other. I think she is going to attempt to push Kryton away if possible, so she can try and get away, because she isn't going to want to fight him. She's going to want to survive. So what we might have is she's going to attempt to shove Kryton away, which we'll say still does damage, and which is a fast action. If she succeeds in the shove, then she is going to do a stamina roll to attempt to run away, which would then move herself. So shoving moves her into short range, and then she's going to attempt to leg it. If she does, then Kryton will have to chase her down, stamina roll, and then can attempt to grapple her to then engage her. So She's going to attempt to shove him away, which is a fast action, which will be her standard attack. So using the wrench as a +1, she has her 5 for her strength and a +1. She's going to attempt to shove Kryton away, getting 2 hits. Kryton is going to attempt to defend himself and not be shoved away. He has a 4. He needs to beat, well, get 2. Nothing. Okay, so she shoves him away as a fast action, getting 2 hits, doing, so she has a wrench doing 1 point of damage. And for the +1, she can outmaneuver to exchange initiatives, doesn't need to do that. Knock or pull a weapon from the other objects from your opponents you can choose, which during the combat picking up and dropping into opponent falls prone, the stunt can only be used on a humanoid opponent. You pin your enemy in a tight clinch. So she'll do 1 point of damage on Kryton and knock Kryton down. And then that's her fast action. 1 point on Kryton, and Kryton is knocked to the ground as a fast action. She will then attempt to do a stamina roll or a maneuver roll. Mobility roll to move from short range. So he's pushed back, they're now at short range, for her to move into medium range and start moving down the air shaft. So then she's basically scrabbling as fast as she can down the air scrubber shaft if she can make a success. Otherwise she gets a bit stuck. She's got a 6 for agility and 1 for mobility. No hits and she can't push. So she is fumbling around and she stays at short range as she slips, as one of the fibrous air scrubbing pads that they're attempting to change, as she tries to grab hold of it, it tears and she is left dangling. As she's left dangling and Kryton is left on the ground. Because he's prone, he has to get up. Getting up is a fast action. He can then attempt to, he could try and throw something. So there's the wrench on the floor. He could try and pick up the wrench and throw it at her. And then she would need to try and defend. She hasn't got the wrench to defend, so it's just a 5 because she's dangling from that bit. So he is then going to say to her that this is foolish and she can't get away from him. He's much better at this, and he is going to throw a wrench at her. Throwing the wrench, would that would be an agility roll, wouldn't it? Because it's not close combat now, it's range combat. So he's going to attempt to throw that at her, and she could have an agility to try and, so it's like close combat, but she could, because you can dodge the wrench, you can't dodge a bullet. So he's going to try and throw the wrench, pick up a wrench and try and throw it all in one move. So he won't get a +1 for it, which is 5 for his agility. He gets 1 hit. She is going to attempt to swing out of the way, which would be 6 for her agility. I could give her a +1 for the mobility, because that is mobility. Getting 2. So he throws the wrench and she swings to the side. So they're still at short range. That's the end of round 2. She is going to attempt to scrabble. No, she couldn't have done that because she didn't know, because that's 1 hit. So she couldn't have done that because she used her fast action to shove him and her slow action to run away. So she has no actions left to dodge. So the wrench hits her, doing 1 point of damage. Yes. So the wrench hits her, doing 1 point of damage. And she then is going to need to make a mobility roll not to fall off rather than to dodge. She succeeds. So she manages to hold on and doesn't fall off. On her turn, which is the top of round 3, she's going to keep trying to go down, 2, 4, 6, 7, which is mobility, and she's going to save her quick action to defend if he tries to throw something else from the toolbox at her. So she succeeds in going down. So she gets down to medium range. He is going to have to catch up with her to fast, so that's run. I'm going to give that Kryton can move down so Kryton is going to grab something to throw at Ava, and try and move down into short range distance by jumping down to the next bit and to move back to short range distance of Ava, and then attempt to throw this at Ava again. So that would be a mobility roll for Kryton to go down. If Kryton fails, we would say that Kryton is potentially going to get hit. Failing, so potentially Kryton will get hurt. So let's have a look at what falling damage is. So falling, fall, fire, disease, page 108 in the core book. Fall on a hard save automatically inflicts an amount of damage to you equal to the height of the fall in meters divided by 2. Armor can also protect you from falling damage. He has 1 armor. So we will say this is 1, 2, 3 meters. 3 or let's call it 4 meters. Divided by 2 is a 2. So 2 of these, 2 hits. Oh, that's not good for Kryton. So Kryton takes 2 points of damage. But his armor can defend him against 1. It doesn't. So Kryton falls. There's a crack as Kryton's ankle goes out of joint, and he reaches down and pushes his ankle back into joint and throws the wrench down at Ava, who has saved her 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mobility. No, he hasn't got mobility. Oh no, the wrench. 6, so he throws the wrench at Ava, 2 hits. Ava is going to attempt to dodge that. Ava has a 6, 2, 4, 6, and 1 for mobility. Dodging 1, so the wrench smacks her in the chest. It's taking the wind out of her, as Kryton is at a different level than she is at. Kryton is looking quite injured. Ava is Ava going to want to get away? Okay, so Ava still doesn't know what's going on, though they have been repairing. There might be noises going on the radio at this point. Let's see, are there noises going on the radio? If we get... no, there's not. What round are we on? This is round 3, so we're not at something weird happening yet. Oh, round 3. There's the potential that there might be noises on the radio, but that's not at the moment. So Ava, is Ava going to keep going? I don't know if Ava would want to kill Kryton. Kryton has been programmed for bionational, so Kryton is more than happy to take out Ava, but can Ava finish off Kryton to protect the humans? Oh, okay. On a positive, Ava is going to take out Kryton. That's the end of story. On anything else, she's going to try and run. Those cancel. That's a positive. Okay. She is going to think that the only way forwards is through Kryton. Round 3 at the start. Kryton is a distance away. She is going to run up and attempt to attack Kryton in hand to hand. So there's the wrench that got thrown at her. On a positive, the wrench she can pick. There's wrenches there for her to pick up. No, that's a negative. So the wrench kept falling down and is out of reach. There'll be other tools up there. The cutting torch probably got left behind so he could climb. So they're both basically adjusting hand to hand. So she is going to do a mobility roll in attempt to get up. 2, 4, 6, so and plus 1. So she's going to attempt. She needs to get at least 1 hit to get up to him. Okay, 2 hits. That's enough. So she uses her fast action to close the scrabbling up really fast, and then grabs his leg and attempts to pull him down, finishing him off, which is a 3, 4, 5. Now he can then use his 4 defense. So she attempts to pull him, getting no hits. He'd already declared, because you have to declare before the roll, so he declared his fast action in defending. She has no fast action to defend. He is going to attempt to kick her in the face and slips whilst attempting to kick her and fails to kick her. We are now on round 4. She is just at his feet. They're in engagement range again. Okay, they're in engagement range. This is going to be, the radio is going to be Cat saying, there's a ship out here. Rimmer, watch out behind you. as Parks and Lister are going to be saying, or is it? I think Lister went up to the body first, didn't he? As we also got on the radio, we've got Lister saying, "What's this? Go on, let me have a look at this." And Parks going, "There's something wrong with that. Don't go close." And then there's a scream, which is as that abomination attacks Lister. So this is on the radio, and Ava and Kryton hear this. So let's make a roll, observation roll for Ava. Ava knows what's going on. Kryton has got 3 and 3 for observation. Kryton knows what's going on. Kryton will say to Ava, "That ship's here for me. It will get us off if you will help me and give up on this fight." And Ava is going to think that she can possibly use that ship to get them out of there. So Ava will then... So Ava is within close range of Kryton. Ava is going to try and grab Kryton and pull Kryton down. No hits, but she's going to save her fast action to defend against Kryton. Kryton is going to attempt to kick Ava in the head and disengage her, and fails, but she used that against him. All right, so that was round 4. They're sort of at a stalemate, basically trying to scrabble against, and she is going to... Okay, so this round, she is going to attempt to climb up to... Oh, but then she can't actually... No, she'll do one last, and then she's going to give up and go and try and help Parks and Lister, because there's obviously this stuff going on. They need to have help. So she's going to try and grab Kryton's leg and pull Kryton down. Gets 1 hit. Kryton is going to try and defend against that pull. Gets 1 hit. Defends against it. So she's pulling on the leg. He will then stamp down and attempt to knock Ava free. Failing. So, but Ava's used that. So Ava is... So they're both still in lock. All Ava needs to do is pull. We've got another one down of this. Does anything happen? No. This is round 6. I think... Oh, Ava's... They're basically in lockerheads. Kryton is getting battered. His clothes are torn. There's milky substances sliding down Kryton's side of Kryton's head. He's only basically got 1 hit point left. Ava has only taken 2 hits, so Ava's not bleeding. Kryton is losing quite a lot of synthetic blood, synthetic fluid. Okay, I think Ava is going to attempt to climb up, and then Ava is going to attempt to shove Kryton off the edge, which would be falling 2 levels down to the bottom, and potentially would kill Kryton. So we'll say that if he falls, then it's a 4 dice fall. He might survive it, but that's all the damage that he'll take from that. So Ava is going to try and climb up, which is her mobility. Easily climbs up. And then she's going to attempt to shove Kryton. I'm going to give her a +1 for that, because I think you can do that. Yeah, mobility. Gain a +1 modification to a later skill roll. So she is going to get a +1 on trying to push Kryton off. So she climbs up with the mobility roll, which is her fast action, and then she attempts to push Kryton off the edge, which is her 5 for a stress and a +1 from a mobility roll. Getting no hits. Kryton is then going to try and counter that, and using his 4, he is going to try and pull her off the edge and make her fall down. He gets 1 hit. So he is pushed her off the edge. She can't defend against it. She falls, which is 4 dice. She takes 1 point of damage as she goes toppling down to the bottom of the shaft. Now, she is at the bottom of the shaft. Let's make her make a stamina roll. If she succeeds in a stamina roll, then she is okay and able to move. Otherwise, she is stunned from falling. Okay, she's stunned from falling. That was, I mean, like, that was 7 dice. 4, 5, 6. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 dice. So she had 7 dice. So she is at the bottom and stunned for a turn, which would give Kryton the chance to go down and get to her. So Kryton needs to make 2 mobility rolls to get down and get to her. No. Yes. Okay, so he climbs down and is short distance away from her. She comes back online and starts to get up and starts to try and move away. So she will use her fast action to get up, and then her slow action, she's going to attempt to get out of the bottom and get into the air duct, to climb through the air duct and get out, which would be down the bottom, which is on deck D, where the cargo hold was, which is where the airlock that Cat and Rimmer went out of, which is the level below where Lister and Parks are at the moment. Now, during this period of time, because it wasn't very long in those fights, she's probably hearing the screams of Rimmer and Cat at the same time as Lister and Parks. Parks would probably be holding it together and calling for assistance, because he already did at the beginning, whereas Rimmer and Cat are not used to doing stuff like that. So she has used her fast action to get up. Now she needs a mobility roll to get into the air duct. 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh, only one hit. One hit means that she's got into the air duct. So she's in the air duct at this point. So she's climbed in, but her legs, so if she got extra, I would have said that she was in. But it's also cinematic. We can then give Kryton the chance to jump down, grab her legs and pull her out of the air duct, potentially throwing her across the room. Because that's quite. So we're at the bottom of. So there's. Oh, actually, let's read the description of this, because this is quite cool. This is quite cinematic actually, and I've missed the opportunity for this. So at the bottom of this, this is where I think this would be where the coolant tanks would be. No, this isn't the coolant tanks. This is at the bottom of the air ducts where water collects at the bottom, if I remember rightly. Yes. Air scrubbers work through electrolysis. Electric current is channeled through submerged rods and applied to the water, causing the separation of oxygen. Which means there's a real risk. Okay, so they're at the bottom and they're fighting at the bottom in this water now, splashing around, which means that each of them is going to take a base 6 at the beginning of this round. Each of them will take a base 6 attack, doing damage 1 against each of them. It might be. But I think I'll give. But that might kill Kryton, and which would not give Kryton the opportunity to pull her legs down and chuck her. All right, mobility roll to jump down. She succeeded in the mobility roll. If he succeeds in the mobility roll, then he avoids the water attack. If he fails in the mobility roll, he's going to get electrocuted, which is a 6. 5 and a 1 for mobility. So this is Kryton jumping down. 2 hits, that's enough. He jumps down, and then he's going to do an attack against Ava, grabbing her legs and attempting to throw her across the room, which is 4 dice. So he's jumped down, there's dirty water, there's covered in, we can see those little egg molts, and as they're jumping down, like the motes are coming up into the air, the water is splashing up on the side, and we can see there's electric sparks coming off as we can see Ava's feet shuffling in to the air duct and attempting to get away, as Kryton reaches in and grabs her legs and attempts to pull her out. She can't defend against this. He gets 2 hits, which is enough to knock her unconscious. So he gets 2 hits and throws her across the room. She can't defend against it, but I am inclined, because it makes it go a bit longer, to give her 1, because otherwise, like, we know what's happening, to give her 1 dice success at saving like an armor roll. Yes! Hey! Okay, so she takes 1 point of damage. He grabs her legs, pulls her out, throws her across the room. She goes throwing across the room. So, well, how big is this? These air scrubbers are 2, 4, 6. 6 meters. 6 meters wide. So she gets thrown across this 6 meter. There's a humongous clang sound as she hits the far side. So that was round 7. Now we're on round 8. Let's roll this again. So they're both looking really worse. No, nothing happens. They're both looking worse for wear at this moment. She is now oozing white from her ears. one of her eyes is flicking to the side quite dramatically. Kryton then is going to come striding forwards, but it's her turn first because she won the initiative. She just saved. That was, well, you know, keeps it going. They've now got 1 hit point each. This is now basically down to it. He is going to close the, no, she closed? She is going to come up onto her haunches and then launch herself at Kryton and attempt to basically take Kryton out to the end. She is going to force Kryton into the water and will have the electrical damage is what kills Kryton if she wins this. It's basically, she's going to roll her 5 dice against his 4 dice to defend. It's pure brute strength as they attempt to basically electrocute each other. She gets 1 hit. We're not going to have the armor protect him. He gets 1 hit. He defends against her. So she's pushing him into the water, attempting to submerge him into the electrified water as he puts his both arms in front of him and pushes himself out and then attempts to flip her over and then shove her down. He gets 4 dice. No hits. Okay, so she doesn't have to defend that, but we've used the defense. Round 8. The voices on the radio now, there's a scream coming from Cat. This would be because I think Rimmer got killed a lot faster than Lister did. But Lister's gone down probably around the same time, but Parks is still putting up a fight against the abomination. Whereas Cat was just saying, so Cat is now saying, Rimmer's dead. Rimmer's died, it killed Rimmer. As we still can hear there's still gunfire going off in the reactor room. So round 9, Ava is now getting more and more tired. So her strength of 5, and she's going to attempt to, so she's not going to use her fast action to defend herself. She's going to attempt to use her fast action to outmaneuver Kryton. So she's going to roll mobility, which is a 6 with a +1, and attempting to get around Kryton. So she is going to, grabbing Kryton, she's going to use the wall to run up and around and circle around and then slam Kryton down into the ground, i.e. she wants to try and get 2 hits on this roll so she can carry 1 hit into her hand-to-hand attack, rolling 6 dice instead of 5, which means she needs to get 2 mobility hits. She gets 2 mobility hits. So one of those mobility hits can give a +1 to her next attack, which is 5 dice, giving her 6 dice combat attack against Kryton. Kryton is going to use his fast attack to defend. He only gets 4 dice. She gets no hits. Okay. So he's used his 4 dice to defend himself. So he puts himself upright. He now gets a 4 dice attack against Ava. Ava cannot defend against. Oh, God. They're just on a standoff. Okay. Parks, at this point, we're probably at the point where Parks is going to radio for help. And say that he needs medical assistance. He's bleeding to death. Lister is dead. So at this point, we've got them both tumbling. Maybe they'll both. So both of them are going to make a mobility roll. Both of them are going to do this as a full out. They're both going to make mobility rolls and attempt to attack and get one up on the other one. So Kryton is not going to defend himself. Kryton is going to try and get into a better position to kill Ava. Ava isn't going to defend herself. She's going to attempt to get into a better position and finish off Kryton. Ava gets her mobility roll. She needs to have 2 hits to get +1 to the combat attack. No. So she fumbles around in the water, splashing about and attempting to get Kryton to his knees. Whoop. Getting no hits. Kryton is going to, laughing at her inability to get him to his knees, successfully gets on top of her, 1, 2, 3, 4, giving him 5 dice now, and attempts to push her into the electrified poles at the bottom, causing the electrolysis. I'm getting overly excited. Oh, God. Okay. She thrusts her legs back against him. He gets moved back against the wall. She is able to get herself, but they both are sort of in the same position, get herself upright. They're facing each other as over the radio comes Park's voice saying, my leg's severed. I'm bleeding to death. Lister has died. I need medical assistance fast. And then his radio goes dead as Ava is going to make one last ditch attempt to take out Kryton and allow herself to go and save the humans, who there's now only 2 left. There's Parks and Cat, and Parks is dying. She gets three hits on the manoeuvring herself into position. I'm going to give her, you're not supposed to, but I'm going to give her 2 dice for this, just to get this out. Oh, 4 hits. Okay, well no, definitely, I'm definitely giving her 2 dice for this then. Which gives her a 5 dice for her strength and 2 dice because I want this over and done with. She just throws herself at Kryton, who isn't going to defend himself. Is he going to defend himself? No, he's going to do the same thing. They're both just throwing each other. She gets 1 hit, which is enough to put Kryton down. But we'll give Kryton a chance to do the same thing, because then they can kill each other off, and that's quite... So Kryton has taken enough damage and Kryton is out. Kryton, in his death throws, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, is going to attempt to manoeuvre himself. He gets 2 hits, gives him a +1, which gives him 3, 4, 5. So Kryton is down, and in his death throws, he kills Ava. Faced off against each other, that just leaves Cat. All right. There was a bit of a pause. That would have been a weird cut there, because that was me thinking about how we can get this to work. Okay, so that wasn't what I was expecting, but this is going to work. Okay, so Ava and Kryton in a death throw, tearing at each other's faces, tearing at each other, releasing fluids that seep into the water around them, turning into a milky white substance as clouds and smooth and eddies of this milky white substance starts to move around in the water on the floor, as they both sink to their knees, battering each other repetitively over and over again until they both succumb to the damage and submerge into the water. Electrical sparks set off around the area and both of their eyes go dead. Parks has called for help. Cat is on the skin of the ship, and we then cut to Cat, who has been moving slowly towards the airlock to get back in. Oh, will he do? And stops with his hands on the airlock, with the voice of Parks coming over the channel. Lister's dead. I'm bleeding to death. I need help. I'm in the reactor room. Cat is the last hope. Let's find out next session what happens to Cat. Can Cat save Parks? Will Cat save Parks? Will Cat just use his comtech abilities to call that ship to come help? What is Cat going to do as now the last functional survivor of the Red Dwarf and the last breathing survivor, well, the last functional survivor on the Kronos? Let's find out next session. Is Cat going to pull it together? See ya.